Good morning, everyone. I'll be presenting on behalf of Medicine 4. We'd like to present an audit that we did during this period and share it with all of you. Looking at the outline, we'll be looking at the objectives, the demographic profile of patients who are admitted during this period, the duration of hospital stay and the outcomes, the cost of hospitalization, mainly at the observations, inferences and limitations. So looking at the objectives, prior to starting the study, we had a few assumptions. We felt that there was less number of patients coming to CMC medicine department. There would be more patients who are more sick and patients who would require more testing for SARS-CoV. So we wanted, these are the few assumptions that we had prior to starting. So objectives that we wanted to look at was mainly look at the patient numbers, the demographic profile, estimating the duration, cost of hospitalization and the outcomes mainly, and classify on basis of the main admission diagnosis. So demographic profile, we mainly looked at a study period of between March 25th to April 29th. So total admissions during this period of time was 99. During the same period in 2019, there was 149 patients, out of which total discharge was 92 versus 128. So looking at the demographic profile, we had 4 staff admitted with us. Private side admissions, we had 11, general side 84, and finally we analyzed 77. If you compare with 2019, we noticed that private side there's 31, so it comes to around 24% decrease in the number of private side admissions. So again, final analysis is 77 versus 91 in 2019. So gender distribution is more or less equal amongst in 2020. So female versus male is 49 versus 50%. Age distribution, we notice that most number of patients are between 50 to 69 age group, and there's also another, it's a bimodal distribution with another peak between 20 to 29 years of age. State-wise distribution in 2020, we noticed that most of the patients, again, as previously, most of the patients come from the Tamil Nadu and the nearby states. There's one patient coming from Bangladesh and few patients from the east, that is West Bengal, Jharkhand. So 81% came from Tamil Nadu, whereas around 5% came from Jharkhand, West Bengal, Bangladesh. From Chittoor, around 14%. So if we compare this with 2019 data, we see in 2019, only 62% of our patients used to come from Tamil Nadu. The graph demonstrates the absolute value, not the percentages. And West Bengal and Bangladesh is 11%. Before it was only 5% in 2019. Again, district-wise distribution, we noticed that in 2020, from Vellore, there was 66% of patients coming, followed by Andhra Pradesh, Chittoor district had 10%. Then nearby districts, had around 3 to 4%. Other states around 4%. In 2019, 50% of the patients were only coming from Vellore. So there's an increase by 16%. There's a 10%, in 2019, 10% of the patients were coming from Thiruvannamalai. This number has significantly reduced, and in 2020, there's only 3% of patients coming from there. Chittoor, again, they're from 7.6%, the number has increased to 10%. So where did the patients get admitted from? Most of the patients, as you see, is admitting from the emergency department. Around 10% was getting admitted from the OPD. So is it different from previous years? In 2019, this medicine OPD had 20%, nearly 20% were getting admitted from the OPD, whereas 80% from the accident and emergency. But this again does not include the private side patients. So you could assume that if you included the private side patients, this amount would be larger. The medicine OPD amount would be larger. ICU care, looking at ICU care, around 20% of the patients required ICU care, whereas 80 did not require ICU care. The distribution for the duration of hospital stay, we notice around 44% required at least 2 to 3 days of hospital stay, whereas around 15% required at least 0 to 1 day. So average duration of hospital stay was around 3.38. This is 2020 data, mainly in the lockdown period, and median distribution is around 3. So if you compare with 2019, the average before was 5.73 with a median of 5. So there's a decrease of around 2 days of hospital stay, duration of hospital stay. So looking at the admission diagnosis, why the patient was admitted in the general ward. So a large proportion was non-communicable diseases, around 53%, whereas 43% was infections. 4 patients were admitted just for procedures or mental biopsies, and 2 patients for giving injection cyclophosphamide. So comparing with 2019, non-communicable diseases were around 60%, whereas infections were around 40%. Again, looking at each category per se, looking at non-communicable diseases, maximum number of patients who are getting admitted with CVA. So it could either be an infarct or a stroke, infarct or a hemorrhage, around equally divided. So 12% was due to a bleed and 12% due to an infarct, followed by acute coronary syndrome bar heart failure, then followed by ethanol withdrawal or electrolyte abnormality requiring. This is the primary admission diagnosis, not looking at the other comorbidities that the patient may have. So again, comparing with last year's data, in 2019, we noted that the maximum number of non-communicable diseases, mainly the major bulk was contributed by the deliberate self-harm, so around 15%, whereas in 2020 it's around 7%. Again, for CVA was around 9%, and then 5.4% was malignancy and pancytopenia. 5.4 malignancy and 5.4% pancytopenia. Again, these numbers have reduced as less number of patients are getting admitted for evaluation, less patients with pancytopenia who are getting admitted according to the data that we had. Again, looking at communicable diseases, broadly categorizing it, if you look at respiratory tract infections, that they had the maximum number, around 25%, followed by 18% was pyelonephritis. Meningitis had around 12%. The rest was scattered. Tuberculosis around 6%, dengue around 6%, scrub typhus around 3%, malaria 3%. There were some asymptomatic COVID contacts who were admitted around 3%. That's around 1% were admitted for evaluation. So looking at the respiratory tract infection per se, majority was pneumonia, 38%, whereas acute bronchitis was 25%, COPD patients around 25%, and influenza-like illness was only around 12%. So again, comparing with 2019 data, here we notice that the maximum number of communicable diseases in 2019 was due to pyelonephritis and respiratory tract illnesses, that is around 27% and 27%, out of which pneumonia was 21%. So a major chunk was because of pyelonephritis and respiratory tract infections alone. Dengue, scrub, all those during this period was quite less. So again, looking at SARS-CoV-2 testing, how many of the patients actually got tested? Around 28.6% of all our admissions got tested for SARS-CoV, and 71% did not get tested. Looking at the outcomes, so outcomes 77.8% expired in 2020 compared to 8.7% in 2019. This is looking at in-hospital mortality. That's after the patient got admitted into the ward or the ICU, not looking at ED mortality per se. More or less the same. So just looking at the expenses briefly, so a patient getting admitted currently, their median bill would be around 9,400 with an average bill, this is bill per day, 14,800. If the patient was admitted only in the general ward, they would get on average around 12,300. If the patient also went to ICU, the bill would increase to up to 30,000. So the average ICU bill, total ICU bill that used to be entered was around 30,000. So again, looking at the cost of investigations, burden of investigations on the bill. So median cost again was around 12,000, average cost around 16,000. So if the patient got admitted in the general ward, they would require average of 13,000 for just the investigations. ICU and general ward, on average, they would require around 29,000. Again, average percentage of the total bill, which was investigations, was around 41%. So mainly it would range from 30% to 60%. So average comes to around 41.48%. Just looking at the other expenses, including the online bills, not looking at the oxygen, median bill would be around 4,000, average bill of around 7,400. General ward, it will be around 6,000. ICU and general ward together, it would be around 10,000. So just a few limitations of this audit that we like to recognize. So again, cost of hospitalizations, and based on the diagnosis, we could not assess because the patient might have multiple other comorbidities, unable to rationalize the need or the cost of the investigations that we did. Then we only looked at the admission diagnosis, the main admission diagnosis. We didn't look at the other comorbidities that the patient may have or may cause an extended hospital stay. unable to assess whether SARS-CoV-2 testing was warranted or not, looking at the study retrospectively. So again, limitations was we didn't compare, there were other variables that we didn't compare with previous year's data, not able to assess indirect costs and the cost of drugs purchased directly. We didn't include private side patients for our data analysis, and this again specific only to Medicine 4 and not representative of the Department of Medicine. So again, just to summarize few things, overall lockdown period, 33% decrease in IP admissions as compared to the same period in 2019. 66% of the IP admissions was from Vellore, 19% from nearby districts, and out of which 89.6 patients were admitted from the emergency department directly as compared to 80%. Excluding those patients who went Dharma, who expired, around 10% were admitted for a day or less, so around 12%. Again, overall decrease in mean hospital stay. This could be because of maybe investigations being done faster, a patient wanting to get discharged earlier. Most common non-communicable diseases accounted for around 53%, out of which CVA was the most common. Infections against 43%, most commonly was respiratory tract infection followed by pyelonephritis. Investigations had a significant fraction of the bill, total bill, 41.4%. So you can tell the patient if they come to a general ward, on average they would, non-investigation expenses would be around 6,000, whereas if they went to ICU, non-investigation expenses, this is excluding the oxygen, would be around 10,000. So few changes that we can make based on this is maybe 12% of admissions may be managed on OPD basis or with a consultant input, based on the consultant input. Maybe avoid unnecessary stay. This is mainly in regard to patients who are admitted straight in ICU for SARS-CoV testing, who may have required oxygen initially. Then again, use investigations judiciously and counsel patients frequently regarding the hospital bill. Special thanks to Dr. O.C. and Dr. John Davis and the interns who helped collect the data.
Thanks, Nivin, for that audit and enlightening us with the data comparing with the previous years.
Some of our findings were expected. We had a dramatic decrease in numbers, only about 2/3 of the regular number we have as inpatients. The good things were that very short hospital stay, 3 days only. There was no increase in the in-hospital mortality. We would assume that during a period like this, only the very sick come to the hospital. So in hospital, there was no increase in mortality. In fact, numerically it was lower. We don't know the statistically significant lower. As expected, most of our patients were from Vellore district, nearby districts in Tamil Nadu or Chittoor at the most. So the patients coming from other states were, they just couldn't reach here. We also looked at the concessional care given. It was about 60%.
Oh, yes, sir.
Overall bill we give. So that was also not an alarming increase from what we expect. So we think that the really sick patients who really are out of money will be the ones who come during a period like this. And last but not least, about 30% there was a clinical suspicion of COVID. A test was asked, none tested positive. I don't know what it means, that truly there is no COVID or it's a problem with the test or our clinical criteria are imperfect. So overall heartening. There was less number, but everything else was okay. That was the final conclusion from the audit.
Somebody made a comment, I'm just looking at this, that our numbers have come down largely because patients from West Bengal haven't been able to come. And people from Vellore actually aren't coming in large numbers to Vellore. So maybe this for our own department, I'm just saying, somebody told me yesterday, it's a good time to try to be as kind as possible to the patients of Vellore who come to see us in OPD, because this is a good time to try to rebuild our connections with the people of Vellore. Like, we can use this opportunity when they know there are OPD slots available when they come. Even at 3 o'clock if somebody asks, can you see, just see, anyway, we've got hardly any patients otherwise. So maybe a good opportunity for Department of Medicine to reconnect with people of Vellore town. Let's see, at least there's a friendly place which are willing to see patients.